Hey guys, so today we are going to be doing a first impressions of the TATI Beauty palette. I think it's called the Textured Neutrals Volume 1. Oh, that's interesting. The name is not actually on the palette anywhere. I think it's called the Textured Neutrals Palette Volume 1. And I just, literally just got it in the mail. So here is what the palette looks like. Isn't that gorgeous? I was really intrigued by this palette when I started to see pictures of it on Instagram. So I purchased this off of the TATI Beauty website. It is only available there at the moment. It is $48 without shipping or tax. And it comes in this packaging. So it has a sleeve and it has this kind of like rubbery, it's not quite as rubberized and sticky as the NARS, but it kind of has this soft touch feel. I guess that's what you call it. It kind of has this like soft magnetic close here. It has a really nice weight to it. It has a gigantic mirror on the inside right here. And then inside we have 24 shades. So why don't I show you the swatches right now? I'm gonna go basically by color from left to right. So each color basically has 4 finishes. We have matte, sequin, metallic, and glitter. So why don't we take a look at memory, which is this first column here. And we have the matte, the sequin, the metallic, and the glitter going from left to right. Next we have ritual, which is this chocolatey brown row. And we have the matte, sequin, metallic, and glitter shades. And then next we have story, which is this orange column here. And again, we have the matte, sequin, metallic, and glitter shade. And then next we have soothe, which is this like lighter mid-toned brown here, like a camel color. And we have the matte, sequin, metallic, and glitter. Next we have Aura, which is this like creamy pink shifty kind of shade. This is actually a very, very pretty column. It was a little bit surprising actually. I thought it was just going to be just like a variety of creams, but there's a little bit of interest, especially in the sequin color. So we have matte, sequin, and that's the one that has like a little bit of gold in there. The metallic is next, and that has a little bit of like a baby pink color. And then we have the glitter. And then last but not least, we have Poet, which is this last column here. And this is like a really pretty kind of like burgundy wine color. And we have the matte, sequin, metallic, and glitter. So by just looking at this palette, I really like it. I like how it's organized. I like that it is organized. We've been seeing a lot of palettes come out where the colors are kind of arranged in a haphazard way, which is also, you know, really lovely. But there's something that appeals to my Virgo senses about this palette. Like I just really like that it's very, very organized by color. So I do want to dive in and play with these shadows. Now, when I was swatching, I noticed that these glitter shades are like no joke glitter. And I'm not saying no joke in terms of like they're just so metallic and shiny, which they are, but they're just glitter. Like they are barely hanging on for dear life in here. Like the glitter just wants to come out. I'm going to be very careful with the glitter shades. I think, you know, I'm only going to be able to, I think, to manage one. I even pulled out my Anastasia Beverly Hills glitter adhesive because I think you're going to need that. Like when I tapped it onto my arm to swatch, there was just a ton of fallout. So, I mean, to be expected, it's a glitter shade, but I did want to mention that because it was a little bit, for someone who doesn't wear glitters very often, I was like, whoa, like, okay, all right, let's be prepared for this glitter. But we'll get to that last. I think I'm just going to be tapping that onto the lid. So let's go ahead and dive in with the mattes. I'm just going to start with this Aura shade. I'm going to put down just a nice soft layer of it. I am going to use my Chikuhodo Z5 brush. Just going to dip into Aura. Going to place this all over the lid. It's so funny. I do this so much with my eyeshadow. I always start with like the skin toned shadow because I always just want to put something down and have a, I don't know, like a starting point. And it's funny because it's like I can't give you any feedback on the actual shadow because I can't really see it. It's so skin toned. It seems to be applying fine. Okay, next I'm going to take my Sonia G Blender Pro brush and I'm going to go into the Soothe matte shade, and the Soothe matte shade is this one right here. And just pick up a little bit. There's a little bit of kick up there, not a ton, but just wanted to point it out. There's a little bit of kick up, and I'm going to apply this to the outer corner of my lid. Start adding a little bit of dimension. It is blending out nicely. So far so good. Those two mattes seem to be working out fine. I want to try one of these sequin shades. I'm generally not the biggest fan of like a matte shadow with some glitter in there, but the glitters in here, the sequins in here are so fine. They're actually very, very pretty. I don't mind it at all. And the base isn't like totally like a flat matte like this bottom row. The sequin base seems a little bit more satiny. You can probably see it the best in this Ritual one, but like the base of the color is like a little bit more of a satin. I think what I'll do, I'm really dying to try this Memory one, but are we getting too dark too soon? Actually, let's try the Poet one. So I'm going to use this S33 brush from Adhesive. And I don't know if you guys saw in the swatches, you can probably see in the pan here, but do you see like the sequin like coloring in there? The sequins in there, the little micro glitters in there are like a purple, really pretty, really nice contrast to like this raspberry base. Let's just add a bit out here. Ooh, that's nice. And you can just see the little micro glitters in there. I don't even know if you'll be able to see it through the camera. When I'm kind of like staring at myself, I can see just a little hint of it, which is really nice. That's a pretty color. Okay, okay. Wow, look at how bright that color is. Isn't that pretty? This is kind of like the color I was hoping the NARS color. Do you guys remember this in my trying new makeup video? I tried this NARS palette. This is the Hyped palette that's part of their Studio 54 line. And this color down here, I thought was gonna have a little bit more purple in it. Anyway, I applied it and it was fine, but it just seemed a little, I don't know, kind of dull, especially compared to like what was going on with the packaging, Studio 54 or whatever. This shade, I feel like, is what should be in that palette. This is really nice. It's like, it's brighter, you know what I mean? There's like a lot more punch to it. I think it's really pretty. Okay, and now I have to use one of these metallic shades. They're just really calling out to me. I'm trying to use like a nice kind of variety. Okay, we did Aura Matte, Soothe Matte. We didn't do Ritual. So I'm gonna try the Ritual metallic up here. I'm taking my Adhesive W21 brush. I'm gonna go into that shade and I'm gonna brush this all over the lid. That's a pretty shade. I don't know that I would call this metallic. I feel like I would call this satin. Not that it takes away from the shadow, but I just feel like it's a little bit softer than what I would call a metallic, but it's very pretty. I'm gonna take a clean blending brush. There's nothing on here. This is the Adhesive G34. I'm just going to drag that ever so slightly over that Ritual metallic shade. That's kind of fun. I would never normally pair those two colors together, but I don't think that looks too bad. It actually looks pretty nice. Okay, let me try and find a liner brush. Where's my trusty liner brush? Here it is, my Adhesive T05. I'm gonna go into this Memory color. I'm gonna just line my eyes with this. I wanna see how pigmented we can get this on my lash line. Oh, that's pretty good, yeah. Wow, that is a dark black matte. That's really nice. Let me smudge this out a bit. I actually was not expecting it to be quite as dark as it is. I'm actually gonna take my blending brush that I used for that Poet color, that purpley color, and blend this out. Okay, I just got dramatic really, really quickly there. Wow. Okay, her palette is actually so weighty, I had to put it down because my hand was getting a little bit tired holding it. So I'm just gonna pick up my little hand mirror here and leave the palette on my vanity. Okay, I think it's glitter time. Or do we want to add a little bit more dimension? I feel like now that I've added that black as eyeliner, I need a little bit more. So why don't we go into the Memory, the sequin shade, this guy here. And I'm just going to use my Esom W36 brush. And I'm just gonna add this to the outer corner here. Yep, just a little bit of dimension there. All right. Wow, that's kind of cool. I don't think I've ever done a color story like this. Very, very different for me. But let's try one of these glitters. And I have to admit, I'm a little bit nervous because, like I mentioned, they're they're glitters. So they're really crumbly. And I'm just afraid it's just going to be this rainfall onto my face. So I'm going to be very careful. I think I want to try this Aura one. Either the Aura or the Soothe. I'm going to try the Aura because this actually has, I don't know if you guys can see, this one actually has like different colors in there. Yeah, that's the only one. All the other ones are like kind of just one shade. This one actually has like some different shades in there. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use my finger. Well, I'm going to hold off on this for now. We'll put it on one eye and see what happens. But I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to tap really lightly because like I said, these are just really soft and kind of like holding on for dear life in these pans. So I'm just tapping my finger in there very lightly. And I'm going to just press this onto my lid, just the center there. I already see fallout. Okay, so maybe I do need the glitter adhesive. Oh my god, it's like all over my eyelashes. Ooh, that's pretty though. It really is like very multicolored. I hope you guys can see that. It's a lot of fun. Oh wow, yeah, it's like all over my face. Well, let's try the glitter adhesive. So the Anastasia Beverly Hills glitter adhesive, it looks like nail polish. And I am just going to dab a little bit right onto the center of my lid. And then before it dries, I'm gonna just tap my finger into that Aura glitter pan again and tap it right on top. Okay, well that took care of the fallout. So I have it on there over the glitter adhesive and I don't have any fallout here. All right, so I'm done playing with the palette. Let me just go ahead and finish up my makeup and I'll be right back to give you my first impressions thoughts. All right, here is my final look. Of course, I had to go with a vampy lip with such a strong eye. All the details of what I have on my face will be down below in the description box. But let's get to my first impressions thoughts. So I like the packaging. I think it's very, very nice. It feels weighty. The mirror is big. I like this soft touch, even though it gets really dirty really quickly. I think it feels really nice in the hand. I love the color story. I think the color story is beautiful. I feel like every base is covered. You have some cools, and then you have some warms, and then you have some neutrals. I also love, as I mentioned when I first opened this, I love the layout of this palette, and it just makes life a little bit easier for someone who maybe isn't as color creative, or with someone maybe who just doesn't have time to sit down and play with eyeshadow. This is just laid out really nicely for someone who just is like, okay, I need like a transition, I need like a little pop, I'm gonna throw some glitter on and done. It's all just laid out so easily for you to kind of like spot what you want to do. I think. I like the idea of all of these different finishes. I think that's really cool also with all the different shades and having each shade with, these 4 different finishes, I think is great. My personal thought is that I would not have done this glitter row. You can only kind of utilize that. So for me, so not often, basically. It's not like I'm going to use a glitter often at all. And I'm someone, I don't mind using like a really high shine, duochrome, like micro glittery kind of eyeshadow, like those Pat McGraths. I have no problem using those. I don't use them often, but I can imagine myself using that kind of a shade over like just a straight up glitter much more often. So I feel like this row that she calls metallics, like this one is a metallic for sure, but the rest of these to me seem like a satin. And so maybe I would have created another row that was really amped up to something like this, where it was just like really metallic, maybe duochrome, maybe just something that was just really highly reflective, maybe just something not quite as glittery. They're fun and they're beautiful, but you have to use an adhesive with it. I feel like even if you use this, let's say before your makeup, you know, you do your eyeshadow first, you swipe away the fallout, I feel like you're going to put your makeup on and you're still going to see some fallout. I feel like I wiped away as much as I could, but I'm starting to see some bits again. I think you're going to need some adhesive, because this side where I used the ABH glitter adhesive, I don't have any fallout. So for those of you who use glitter often and all the time, you're probably thinking like, duh, of course you have to use a glitter glue. That's why they call it that, a glitter glue. But for someone who doesn't use it often, I just wanted to point it out that you need a glue and that you should really go in carefully with these glitters. You do not need a lot. I wouldn't go in, you know, like a normal kind of like swatch or normal kind of like finger application. I would just tap very, very gently. Other than that glitter row and having to be careful with it and dealing with the fallout or whatever, I feel like out of all the other shades that I tried, they all actually performed very, very nicely. The sequin shade is much prettier than I thought it would be. I really thought when I heard people describe it and when I saw it swatched, I think I mentioned this, I really thought it was just going to be a matte shadow with some micro glitters thrown in there, but they actually look kind of like fabric almost. I don't know if that makes sense, but they almost look like a shantung silk in a way. And I think that that is really cool. I think it's the fact that they're not in a matte base, that they're actually in kind of like a satin. But anyway, just wanted to repeat myself and just drive that point home apparently. But yeah, I think all of the colors are pretty. All of the formulas work nicely. They work as expected, including the glitters. And I think it's really nice. And I really actually like this look that I came up with. Yes. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Do you like this eye look? What do you guys think of this layout, the color story? What do you think of this glitter row? I would love to hear from you. Leave me some comments down below in the comments section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in my next video.